It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
I can't believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Is the squirrel really the chicken of the tree? Is it really limb bacon? As we heard these phrases, we thought, are really any of our listeners eating squirrel? And yeah, they are. This was weird. You're going to hear it in the podcast in a couple of seconds. Here we go, guys. What makes you irrationally angry, Kat?
It's just, so if I'm sitting somewhere and it's really warm and I'm sitting by someone that likes to do a lot of
Touching? Like tapping?
Hey, tapping on my arm or my leg, I have gotten to a point, only the last couple of years, that I just hate that contact. And when it's hot, it's exacerbated. It's taken to another level. Like at track the other night, I love my mother-in-law. I do. I have the best mother-in-law, but she's a toucher. She's a hugger. She's a lover. And she just, the hand on my forearm. And I'm just like pouring sweat, and I'm just to a point where inside it was like the thermometer, filling up with mercury. And I don't want to hurt her feelings, because I don't want her to always think that is how I feel.
Clearly it is.
I just need, only on really, really hot days. Don't do it. Don't do it. If we're in a hot gym watching basketball, don't do it.
So you got a touch bubble.
And my mom does it too. My mom will just but she doesn't do cute little ones. She'll do the big nudge with her thigh if she wants me to look at someone weird or something. And I'm just like, people need to stop touching me. It's too much.
So Andrea, yesterday I got triggered by some slow walkers in the grocery store. Is this your thing too?
That's my peeve too.
Yeah.
Especially when they stop right smack in front of you.
It's never in the side aisle. And I do a conscious job of, when I'm at the grocery store, if I have to stop for something, I get my car way the hell out of the way so that it's not in front of anything. And I don't know why, but I woke up angry this morning because of that. And you got one for us?
For me, it's people who are walking with their cell phones.
Oh, when they're walking down. Listen, I did this yesterday. I was leaving work, and I had gotten 2 text messages right as I was 20, 30 feet from my truck. And I grabbed my phone out of my pocket, and I'm looking down, and I was just reading one of them because it was a little cryptic. And I looked up, and this woman passed right by me. I had no idea. She could have hit me with a sack of pennies right in the face, and I would have never even known it.
Well, downtown, you just see that all of the time. People walking across crosswalks, just staring down at their phone. That you are a target.
Trusting that somebody's going to stop for you and being not conscious of your situation.
I hate to say it. You almost deserve it.
You're going to end up in the hospital. What do you got for us, Janet?
Grocery rage. The people that just stand in the middle and chit-chat or the slow walkers.
The chit-chatting too, right? There is a specific grocery store in the little town that I live close to where they go there specifically to tell each other how much they got on their rain gauge. They're not there for groceries. They just want to talk about who died, how much rain they got, and where they're going for their son's graduation. I get it. It's a community hub. That's what a grocery store should be. But I'm there for chicken breast. Get the hell out the way.
You do have to have a sense of your surroundings. I get that. But
Shannon, what makes you irrationally angry?
People that don't merge at highway speed.
Yeah, almost everybody that's texting right now is saying it has to do something with going too slow in the fast lane, not merging fast.
Yeah.
There's a spot, the exit I take off the interstate, where I don't know why it gets traffic clogged there all the time, but I see people having to brake gun it just to squeeze in between 2 semis so they can get to the off-ramp. I'm like, you didn't know all the previous signs that said the off-ramp was 1.5 miles, was 3/4 of a mile. You didn't know any of those existed?
Yeah. Can I tell you one from the other day?
Give me one.
Okay. This has not been talked about yet. And I felt like such a jerk for feeling this way, but I was like, come on. It's lunchtime, but I went to Chipotle. And there was this mom in front of me with her child who was maybe 5 or 6. You know, when they want to do everything themselves. And they got to first it took them forever. She had to explain each thing. Well, the corn, it has this and this and this. It was a lot. And then by the time we got to where they had to cash out, she took her card out and this child wanted to do it. There's a massive line, a buildup, okay? And he didn't know how to tap it. And then the tapping wouldn't work. And she was like, no, okay. And I get that she's trying to teach him certain things, but you got to be aware. If it's just you in the line, go ahead.
In the meantime, you're in a time crunch. Your blood sugar's dropping.
Yeah.
You're feeling the pressure.
And I was doing this, like that Chick-fil-A girl where she's like, no Chick-fil-A sauce. I just kept making that. What the heck? My head was going to fly off my neck. So that made me hot.
I know you don't want to hear it, but you are turning into your mother so much right now. I've seen that exact look you just gave right now, and it's hard to understand on the radio. But I've seen your mom make that when I've heard, "Oh, we can't make a margarita right now."
Yeah. I know.
It's not a good look. On a scale of boring to 10, what's our job?
Our job is an 8. I would
have said a 9.
Yeah. I think just talking to new people every single day. We have so many different personalities that listen. It just makes it
I think about it all the time. Like getting up at 3 a.m. blows. But if you were to go out and get another job, you'd be bored as hell.
I would. And I don't know if I want to ever explore if the grass is always greener. Sometimes
is.
I'll go through your brain just like hurts. You think of like all these different things to talk about, and you're constantly reading about things and talking about to people. And then you're just like, can I just have a cubicle job?
When I see my wife working on Excel spreadsheets, I just go, boring. And she's like, I know, you get a job that's really fun.
So my friend Caitlin now works for a county. I'm not going to say which county because it'll give it away, but she works with 2 other people, and both of them are maybe 25, 30 years older than her. But she's been a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and then she got a job at the local school and just kind of buzzing around the school doing all these things. And then she took this job where they just sit in this very, very quiet building, and she just types away all day. And I went to visit her. I brought her like one of those protein shakes, and I was sitting there for like 5 minutes, and I was
stir crazy
looking at her like, it is so quiet here. You could hear a mouse fart. And I don't know if I could be alone with my thoughts like that.
Danielle had chimed in on Facebook. Other people think my job is boring, but I love it. I work at a label manufacturer in Nisswa. You'd be amazed what goes into making simple labels. I had a job when I was in college. I had 2 jobs one summer, and I was playing on 2 different baseball teams, too. And that summer went by in such a blur, but I had an overnight job. I would work 11 a.m. till 6 a.m.
Okay.
polishing injection molds. So think about a barrel, like you get a plastic barrel, all that hot plastic gets injected into a mold. But if you want that barrel to be super smooth on the outside, the mold has got to be super smooth. So we would start, and you can't take a whole lot off this. So we would start with a heavier grit, and then we'd get all the way down to these sanding stones. And you'd have to dip them in an oil and then sand away and then look under these really, really intense glasses and intense like magnifying lamps to make sure you got all the stuff off that to get a super
smooth. Is a robot doing this now?
Likely.
Okay.
But after that, I would go to this job where we worked in this giant manufacturing building, and you were on a production line, and you would do things like put Barney heads on shampoo bottles or something like that. And that was I was so dumb at the end of the summer because I didn't use, all I ever thought about was what pitch is coming next when I was playing baseball. Those other 2 jobs had me so just,
Geez, that could be dangerous.
It was not good. I went back to campus and everyone's like, did you have a stroke? And I'm like, no, I just worked 2 mindless jobs.
Yeah, but maybe you love it. Maybe you have lived a fast-paced job life and then you gave it all up to work somewhere very quiet and it works for you.
Your job is boring, but that's okay. What's your job, and why are you okay with that?
Bingo! How fun!
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo! Bingo what bingo?
Bingo!
Bingo! Always on the hunt for the first caller to hit us up real quick that fits one of the following 2 criteria. Are you somebody listening who
is being ghosted right now? What are the odds of this happening? This guy says a woman who ghosted him on a date recently ended up sitting next to him. Her ticket ended up being right next to him on a flight to Germany.
Craziest story of the day. Imagine a girl you went on a date with on your flight to Germany happens to be sitting right next to you after she's ghosted you. And then the first 10 hours, you're next to each other, bro. And I'm trying to explain to her how the universe brought us back together.
That isn't going to work.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is maybe just the way that you handle situations where you just don't ever talk to somebody again. I just don't think it's kind. I think we're not helping out that other person. But there's always like the risk of them being like, oh, come on, we got to make it happen. And then that's like super desperate. So don't be that person.
So you're on the hunt for anyone listening who is currently in a ghosting situation?
Yes. You are the ghoster or you are being ghosted.
I'm looking for anyone listening who got caught up in a storm or any kind of natural disaster and you almost died. It gets this time of the year. And I remember the story of my mom and I were at my grandmother's place, which was a mile from our house.
Yeah.
And what happened is we could see like the black clouds moving in. You knew there was a storm. And by the time my mom got me in our car, we drove to our house. A tornado hit our neighborhood.
God.
And it downed a power post, like a power line post right on the front of our car. The pressure was so big in this tornado that it blew out the windows of it. We had a station wagon at the time. It blew the windows out. And this power line, or this power pole was laying right on the front of our car.
Scary.
And I mean, it missed us, but it could have killed us both if we were 1 second earlier. And I remember my mom ripping me out of the car and then running into our house. And the wind, I just remember the wind was so powerful.
Yeah.
And we get in the house and head for the basement. And we had this old home, and it had one of those basements that had like a fruit cellar in it and this giant furnace. And we're tucked in behind the furnace, and you could just hear it outside. Just, and like
it almost seems like you could just feel it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big memory for me. So I was like, man, we almost died in that tornado. Oh. So the house, there was 2 houses that I used to party at all the time when I was in college at St. Peter that got pulled right off their foundation when St. Peter had that giant tornado and dumped in the park across the street.
The power.
I want to say hi to Tabitha. She said her dad, my dad and I, got caught in an avalanche in Colorado. We were snowshoeing, almost died. And I wanted her to come on the show. She said she's at work already. And I want to say hi to Hector, who said, I was in Houston right after Hurricane, is it Harvey? Was it Harvey, right?
Yeah.
We had to swim out of the second level of our home.
The destruction of Harvey was, I mean, it's still, that was in 2017. That is still being like recovery efforts, not recovery efforts, but rebuilding efforts. I mean, all those homes, all those structures.
Can you imagine the water moving in so fast that you can't get out your front door? Everything you have is gone. And you have to swim out of the top level of your home?
No.
I can't imagine that much water being around. Like, I guess unless you're in something like that, you can't put that into any kind of a context whatsoever.
Dana texted, I'm currently ghosting someone right now, which I had said, not a nice thing to do.
Why?
But she says because he can't handle the word no.
Oh.
He's a headache. So... yeah. Okay. There are certain exceptions that I'll take.
Guys get weird. I mean, I know girls get weird too, but I feel like more men get weird about why can't you like me? Why? And they're just so persistent sometimes.
I think it's like a human reaction that you want to know why someone wouldn't deem you good enough to be with them.
And why can't you just say I'm not attracted to you? Why can't that be good enough?
I think it should be. It's going to sting. Don't get me wrong. You're going to feel a certain way, but
trust me, after enough, it doesn't sting anymore.
You just really
go,
wear
all
up
right,
a callus.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I got that way, especially in college.
Yeah.
I said no to so many times. All right, whatever. Your loss, Jezebel.
But then you say that, but then you make up stories about how they got in like car accidents or fell off cliffs or like
well, it doesn't make me feel bad. Okay. Just saying, you shouldn't have said no. That's on you.
All right, so Starbucks Barista is making a big announcement on a strike, and listen to what Starbucks, the chain, is now having baristas do.
Now we have to purchase new shirts and shoes to be compliant with the new policy. Why doesn't Starbucks do the right thing and provide a stipend for these newly required items? We have several partners who have spent lots of money on Starbucks branded shirts, merch, etc., and are no longer allowed to wear them. We, the partners, are informing you that writing messages on cups and implementing drab uniforms will not restore Starbucks' slumping sales or increase customer satisfaction. Signed, the striking partners at CERTA.
Somebody write this down. I'm going to tell you about it. It is Thursday, May 15th at 6:27 a.m. Write this down. These boneheads at Starbucks are going to complain themselves on social media out of a job. They are going to make an automated system that's going to replace all of you, and it's going to be quicker and it's going to be faster. If you continue to rock the boat. I'm okay with you getting a pay raise. I'm okay with you getting a stipend, but do it internally.
But they're not getting a stipend. They're being made to buy new shirts and shoes.
Do it internally. Do not complain on social media. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Right. And I don't need a message on my cup. I don't need to be told, hey, Kat, have a latte-licious day. I think that actually slows them down.
And you know how many times I've had JJ misspelled on my cup? Like,
too many.
Do the job.
Yeah.
Do the job.
All right, let's hit the road, Jack. According to a new study, best summer travel destinations are Orlando at number 1, of course, followed by Atlanta.
I love Atlanta.
Where the players play. And then Washington, D.C. That is on our bucket list for the next couple of years. We're going to try to make that happen, get Liam there, go to the Holocaust Museum.
D.C. is a spot you should, especially if you got kids that are old enough to be interested in our country's history and our world's history. D.C. is a great spot.
They also say if you're looking for a budget vacation, apparently Tulsa, Oklahoma provides the lowest cost trip.
Ely, Minnesota didn't make the list.
Wonder why.
The other day, when you were talking about raccoons, what did you call them?
What did I call them?
Did you call them a trash panda? Is that what I heard you say?
I don't know. I probably said something about like the robber, people-handed robber. I don't know.
I was at baseball practice last night, and we were just finishing batting practice, and somebody had said something about squirrel, right? Like, so when you teach kids at a high school level or coach kids at I could never teach, but when you coach kids at a high school level, one of the things that you quickly become adjusted to is the fact that everybody has ADD. Trying to herd these cats to get an efficient practice in is an exercise in futility. And one of the kids yesterday, we're standing out in the outfield, we're shagging balls at batting practice, and there was a squirrel that ran across our outfield. It's a normal squirrel, just a regular guy looking for a nut. And he used the phrase.
Classic.
He goes, yep, squirrels, they're the chicken of the tree.
The chicken of the tree.
And I had never heard that before. And so I started thinking about, like, chicken of the sea made sense when talking about tuna because tuna really is the chicken of the sea, right? There's a lot of it out there. Everybody seems to like it. That makes sense why they call tuna chicken of the sea, unless you're Jessica Simpson, and obviously you're not going to figure that out. I started asking around yesterday afternoon, and somebody else had referred to squirrels as limb bacon. Out of all the stations that are broadcasting our show right now, how many people out there are having squirrel? Like, you will eat it. I'm not talking roadkill. I'm talking you actively go out and hunt for a squirrel and you get enough to feed your family. I get it. In all those old black and white shows, you got a couple of hillbillies sitting on the porch and they don't have an income. They're living out in the middle of nowhere. They're in the mountains. And that's all they have.
I don't know how many people are going to call for this. I think we're more of a Chick-fil-A crowd, to be honest. I don't know if a lot of people are foraging for their food.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you today?
Great. Are you eating squirrels?
Absolutely.
You got to be kidding me.
They're delicious.
Okay, so you got to compare them. I had a conversation with my kid the other night. He was like, what does gator taste like? So I'm like, when we go to the state fair, you have to try some gator. And I had to say, it's kind of like a rougher chicken. How would you compare this squirrel meat?
Is it really the chicken of the tree?
It's totally the chicken of the tree. It's actually very tender. It's a little bit gamey, but you make it with like a sour cream gravy and do it in like one of those Dutch ovens.
Now, you're not living in a cabin out in the middle of nowhere and you just came into the city and used the phone to call us, right?
No, I grew up on a farm. So hunting squirrels is a completely normal idea for me.
How many times have you gone out and actively hunted squirrel for food?
I couldn't count that many times.
That many times?
You don't know how to count when we live in the woods.
Oh, come on now.
So what's the side dip? Do we have some sriracha, maybe some Frank's, some ranch?
No, we make like a sour cream gravy and, throw some onions in there, fried onions, and then you eat it with like spatzel.
Stop this.
When was the last time you had squirrel as a main course?
I would say it's probably been a few years. We used to make it at a friend's house, and I would clean their house, and they would have tree rat labeled in the freezer. And
tree rat.
I would.
Oh my God.
I would cook it up, and we would. Yeah, it hasn't been that long. I've had rabbit a lot.
Rabbit, I kind of get a little bit more than squirrel, but it just seems, and I get them. They're everywhere.
They're like, Yeah, their little legs are like little chicken wings.
Got it.
And then you eat their little rib cage, and it's like delicious.
Man, I think we found a listener that would go all 21 days.
You could make it on Naked and Afraid, couldn't you?
Oh, probably. I don't like to be naked in the woods because bugs suck, but yeah. I'd do it.
What is your name, by the way? We didn't even catch that.
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay. I'm so glad you called. I did not
expect
And this was a lifestyle choice that you completely bought into, to eat squirrel as a part of your diet.
Absolutely. If it's weird, I'll try it.
You're that kind of girl, huh?
Same concept. It's just a lot more tender than gator.
Tried dating a lot of you in college. It didn't really work out. Mary Kay, have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Get out with LPP. Can you help me? Get out with LPP. Can you help me? Get out with LPP. Can you help me? Get out with LPP. Everybody.
So Harlan hit us up with a DM, and I'm like, we got to get your situation on the radio because this is crazy, and it has to do with a little paranoia, right?
Yeah. I hate to sound paranoid, but so me and my family, we all track ourselves on like the Live 360 app.
Yeah.
And just, usually, my wife kind of goes to the same few places during the week. But last week I saw she went to like some strange locations, and that was already a red flag. And she was there for like a couple hours. So pretty concerning. Yeah. But
so what was it?
Yeah. So I looked at the addresses, and it was actually 3 places she went to, and they all were for sale.
Oh, she's going to like open houses.
Yeah.
Is she planning to
pretty strange
move without you? What's the deal?
I mean, our house now, is in both of our name. I don't know why she would look for a new place.
I'll tell you exactly what's going on here, man. This happened to me last year at this very time. All of a sudden, my wife is like, we have to go look at a house. I was perfectly happy. We were in our happy neighborhood with all our happy friends.
But now you're glad she did it because you're living in paradise.
And uprooted our lives. I had several ulcers in my stomach. I was worried all the time. I was snapping at strangers. Listen, you got to get out ahead of this. If she's planning on like looking for another place, you need to be involved.
But I'm wondering is like maybe she's doing it and finding out ahead of time so she doesn't get you in the mix and get you all worked up. Maybe she's finding out if they work or not. So she's kind of saving you heartache.
I mean, so I did confront her about it. I was like, hey, like, why did you go to 3 open houses last week? And that's pretty much what she said. She's like, I didn't want to get you involved in this. It's really early. But for me, I just think even looking warrants a conversation because you're looking at places that I guess appeal to you. You haven't even involved me in this process, and I don't know. For me, it feels like it might be something deeper. I don't know if I'm being paranoid, but I think there's just more to her just looking at places.
Yeah, I hope you're paranoid about this, and maybe she's just thinking about, like, hey, maybe it's a lifestyle upgrade for you guys.
I hope she's just going and taking drugs from their bathroom.
Friday morning, of course, is a ton of fun and winning in the Playhouse. Johnny D will be here with the old school mixes at 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., and Nautical Bowls. We're giving away $25 gift cards to Nautical Bowls every single hour, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday. So definitely be here as we continue our gastronomic giveaway. Right now, let's wrap up the end of our podcast. The problem is most of you don't fear your spouse the way I fear mine. If I was to ever just go and buy something without my wife's approval, it would be over.
Yeah. It's adorable. You even think that way. That would be really scary. And then, I don't know, when I see, like, I had a friend whose husband decided to get in on the timeshare situation, and then you're just locked for life. There's no...
No. Don't you hear all this advertises on the radio about that one guy that can get you out of them?
Sure. If you die, then you'll get out of it. But he fell for it. His buddies were like, oh, yeah, we could use it as like a fishing, hunting location or whatever. And it was part of a 4-unit condo, and he bought into it, and he didn't tell her until it was kind of too late, these automatic withdrawals, and she just felt really betrayed.
We just talked to Harland, and he said he's been following his wife, their whole family, on Life 360, and noticed that she was making several stops, and then put 2 and 2 together and noticed that all of these stops are open houses, but she hasn't ever told him, like, hey, we're looking for a new place. So the question is, has your spouse, your significant other, ever done anything like a major life decision and just omitted you from that? And Jeff, you're kind of riding on this, huh? This happened to you?
Yeah, so, like, I know it takes 2 people to make a baby, and that's a lot of decisions, but she kind of started buying stuff, like, ahead of time, you know? Like, and there's all these Amazon packages and stuff, and I was just, like, not really paying attention to what she was getting. And then one day it was, like a playpen thing, and I was like, oh, you got a friend who's having a baby? She's like, well, actually, thinking we should do that. And she knows I'm not going to back down and be like, no. Yeah. You know, I have a 4-year-old, and he's great. I love him. No regrets. But, like, she started planning the baby stage knowing that I would definitely say yes and that I would be down for it, even though we hadn't talked about it at all.
Yeah.
And we got together. We were a couple of alcoholics. We're good now. But we got together. It was just it was a fling. It turned into a 12-year thing, and then we ended up having a baby. So it was just kind of like one of those things where she was, like, not buying a side-by-side or, like, a house.
Mm-hmm. But a baby is a lot more expensive than a side-by-side. Let me unpack this real quick. So you hadn't even talked about having babies, and she decides to start ordering enough stuff for a nursery before she presents to you the, hey, would you like to have a baby thing?
Yeah, it started off as little things, just like things like that I wouldn't notice, and then eventually it was a larger piece of equipment that you can't really miss. Mm-hmm. And that's when she had to know that, okay, this is time. This is how I'm going to have the conversation with Jeff.
Her clock was ticking at such a pace that she couldn't control herself without at least bringing it up to you.
Yeah. Did this
I'm just going to go ahead and make a decision.
Did this plan start to unfold after, like, her going out with her girlfriends? Or can you pinpoint a time when it really started going into overdrive?
No, I think it's kind of when we got to, like, a quiet place in our marriage after a few years, and you kind of slow down and the honeymoon stage wears off, and then you're like, well, what do you do now? Like, I'm going to start buying stuff for a baby. He'll say, yeah, that's fine.
Jeff, this is our fault, by the way, because Kat has uttered this phrase so many times over the years, and I believe your wife at one time heard it.
Yeah, babies are a Band-Aid.
They fix everything.
And a blessing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm happy we have a kid now, but I just thought it was kind of a funny thing.
Yeah, very funny.
The way you say things, it's to convince us, for sure. Maybe to convince yourself, but I have no doubt that you love your wife and you love your son. And you never know. A family of 4 could be the completion that she's looking for and that you don't know should exist.
Yeah, family of 4, family 8, whatever.
You're the best.
I never said that.
Thanks, Jeff. I hope you have a great morning, man. These are good ideas on paper the day before, usually. And now I fear a little bit of what we're about to get as we allow you 45 seconds, maybe a minute to trauma dump on us. The reason we're talking about this is this audio had serviced from this restaurant server over Mother's Day.
I always sign up to work on Mother's Day since I have a dead mom because I might as well make a buck from my trauma. This woman comes trailing through the door with 7 people and she's whipping around some sheet of paper being like, hello, where's my table? It's Mother's Day. I had a reservation. I stare this woman dead in her eyes. I'm like, well, ma'am, today's actually my mom's birthday and she passed away and I would do anything to spend the day with her. They tipped me 50%.
They tipped me 50%.
Back to what makes you hot is delivery is a lot. But do you have something that you'd love to trauma dump? I feel very fortunate that I have lived the life I have thus far. I had a great childhood. I did have some friends with a not so good childhood, so I can see how that can happen. But sometimes you just got to get it out. So we're going to let you. But you have 45 seconds.
Being born to less than a wealthy family, having glasses at age 6, always being pudgy, balding early in my 20s, never really smart or funny, failed athletics. I would never, and having 2 dead parents, I would never.
God, way to make people feel uncomfortable.
Ever dump my trauma on any of you.
Not at all.
But I thought this is a perfect opportunity. Appreciate you holding. We know a little, but why don't you tell everybody else what's kind of going on in your life, and we'll just let you just kind of go for 45 seconds. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
12 foster cares I went through growing up.
Jeez.
Just nightmare after nightmare. Couldn't find the right place. Everybody just treated me so terribly. It just didn't set me up for success.
Oh.
After the foster care has just been nonstop food stamps, 12 years of food stamps.
Jeez.
I'm just Have you ever been to the food stamps line and having to wait there and just explain your case to these people?
No.
It's
Thankfully,
terrible.
no.
It's like a whole nother level of trauma dumping.
All right, you seem to be on a roll. You got anything else for us?
I had a baby when I was 18, and I just lost my job. So
Jeez,
things have
heavy.
not been great.
Not great at all.
All right.
I
She is
appreciate it.
winning.
That was your 45 seconds. That's a leader in the clubhouse. You feel like it would just help you to dump on us? Go ahead. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. I got a workout in before the show this morning and grabbed a quick shower, and I'm on my way out the door, and I kissed my beautiful wife on the forehead, and I said, happy anniversary, Trisha. And she went,
Oh, so did she forget too?
Then she was on her way into the gym this morning and texted me, happy anniversary, blah, blah, like nothing ever happened. And I'm like, to try at 26 in the morning to wake somebody and expect them to reply, happy anniversary to you too is kind of ridiculous. So I didn't really expect it. But Dad, 26 years.
Where has the time gone?
Time has gone to extreme stress and duress.
Hockey.
And 3 children that are the neediest people on the planet and spoiled rotten. And here I am today doing a dopey radio show.
Congratulations, because we all had a running bet that it would be done a long time ago.
Same. I keep making money off myself.
Yeah.
Like
good
I'm
for
like,
you.
can I make it another year and make another $1,000 off some stupid bookie?
Yeah.
But yeah, 26 years is just kind of crazy. I've been married over half my life.
Yeah.
Isn't that
that's
weird?
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I've had a different last name longer. No, that's not true. I didn't.
Not at all.
So
Your math
I'm
is
terrible
ass
at
backwards.
math. Yeah. But I mean, anyway, moving on.
Yesterday, what I want to talk about is your house exploration yesterday. So are we moving? Or are we not moving?
We are not moving.
Damn it.
So as quick as the idea came, it left. And Derek cannot ever hide how he feels on his face. And our lovely realtor, whom we've worked with so many times, Dee Dee, she's this cute little pixie blonde and just showing us around, always trying to be positive, but she would never let us move into a money pit, which I appreciate.
Well, that's a realtor's job, right?
Well, sometimes realtors just want to make some money, and
those people don't get repeat customers and stuff. And I think
sometimes those people don't care. Those people just want to make money, but she definitely cares. So I appreciate that about her. But I mean, the view was to die for. It's exactly what I want. It just wasn't the good.
Most of the
timing
time, when you
for.
find a property, there has to be a sacrifice, whether it's square footage, whether it's whatever. But the sticky point is your husband in one bathroom, huh?
Mm-hmm. And the bugs got him.
The bugs.
There were some unusually large spiders down by the boathouse, and I got to give it to him. He was looking at the bright side for most of the time, and then I don't know what happened, but a flip of the switch happened, and it just
Maybe he needs to build a tolerance, like a good alcoholic.
Yeah,
like you just you can't start by saying, I'm going to drink 23 beers tonight.
Right.
So, like, you got to build him up on these. So the more houses you see, then maybe all of a sudden he doesn't see the bugs. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he doesn't.
I look at it like more of like starting to wear a thong. You're going to get some chafing, but you just got to work up kind of a tougher build and, So.
Well, different strokes, different folks. So we're not moving.
Not today.
Okay.
This was so funny.
What would you say? It was a
massive spending bill. So, I mean, it was a very early meeting, 4:57 a.m. They were
probably there all night.
Yeas or nays. Yeah. And so, but he had said like that either the night before or whatever, his kids have been sick. And so he's like, I've just been so exhausted.
Dude fell asleep as everybody was voting.
Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore.
He's dead asleep. He wakes up, hits the button.
Mr. Moore, no.
Now, it reminded us of if you ever watch KARE Channel 11 out of Minneapolis, Eric Perkins had done sports and TV stuff for years and years and years for those guys. And this was a 10 o'clock newscast, and he fell asleep live on the news.
Looks as though those rain showers might hold off Tuesday, so Tuesday maybe even will hit 50.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
When's the last time that happened?
Well, we hit 50 in February, remember?
Oh, well, then I guess it wasn't that long ago.
Lovely little stretch there where we melted.
Hello. You made Perkins fall asleep.
No. That had nothing to do with on Sven. I was just I'm normally, if we're jumping forward, that means I'm doing the math in my head.
He was not.
Dead
his
out.
papers were like slowly going down, and the guy was just exhausted.
Anything better than falling asleep on live TV? Those lights are so bright. There's people moving around all over the place. You got somebody in your ear, and you still manage to fall asleep.